This morning, a woman is finally home in Dallas after spending 140 days in ICE custody. Ward Sukik was born in Saudi Arabia to Palestinian parents. She's lived in the United States since she was 8 years old. She was arrested by immigration officials back in February. She was returning from her honeymoon to the U.S. Virgin Islands with her new husband when she was taken into custody. Now, we reached out to the Department of Homeland Security, who said in a statement, in part, the arrest of Ward Sukik was not part of a targeted operation by ICE. She chose to fly over international waters and outside the U.S. Customs zone and was then flagged by CBP trying to re-enter the continental U.S. Following her American husband and her filing the appropriate legal applications for her to remain in the country and become a legal permanent resident, she was released from ICE custody. Well, joining me now is Ward Sukik and her attorney, Eric Lee. Thank you both so much for joining us on this holiday weekend. Ward, I want to start with you. Can you please just tell me about your experience being detained and how you're feeling this morning?
Thank you. First of all, I feel good this morning. I feel amazing being back home, and I'm super grateful to be here. The entire detention process was not great. I wouldn't wish this upon anybody. It was very hard, very traumatizing, and very, very difficult, is what I would say to that.
Well, and Ward, can you describe a little bit more? I mean, just what it was like inside while you were detained for so many weeks?
Yes, absolutely. There was not a lot of things for us to do. It was a very lazy, each day was lazier than the next day. You will run out of energy. I didn't have much energy to do pretty much anything. All I had was my husband sending me books, and I would be reading. Once these books were done, send them back, get more books. We did have some Zumba and some dancing classes provided to us. It wasn't a daily thing, but it was pretty nice in the second facility that I was in. There wasn't a lot of people that spoke English in there. There was a lot of Latin women, so it was very hard for me to make a lot of friends. So often I just felt like I was a little isolated because I didn't really speak the language. So again, I was in an environment where I wasn't fully comfortable. And not only that, I was also very scared because it was very different to me. I didn't know why I was there specifically, even though I was asking, and I really wanted to speak to my deportation officer and all that, because I've been abiding by everything and I was complying, and I was just very confused on why I was there, especially when I report every year and they congratulate me on everything I've done or any new updates in my life. So it was just very confusing for me.
Eric, I want to bring you to the conversation. Your client's circumstance, very unique. I understand that Ward does not actually have citizenship anywhere. Is that correct? And how does that make this whole case more challenging?
Right. Ward is a Palestinian. The United States government does not recognize Palestine as a country. Her family, like the families of so many Palestinians, were kicked off of their land many decades ago and forced essentially into international diaspora. The government cannot deport her to any country. She has been, as she just indicated, complying with all of the supervisory demands that ICE has placed on her over the last years. I just want to say, since you started by reading the statement by the Department of Homeland Security, they also issued a statement yesterday to Newsweek saying that what Ward said about her conditions of detention, including regarding food, including regarding water, mistreatment by guards, the violation of her religious right, was false, DHS said. They called it a sob story. I guess what we would ask the American people is, who are they going to believe? Their lying eyes or the statements of the people who are responsible for carrying out what are really crimes against humanity here in the United States? On Monday, when Ward was brought almost out of the facility for her second deportation attempt, that was in violation of a federal court order saying that the ICE was prohibited from trying to remove her from the United States. This is a government which is actively undermining and violating the American Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And the case that Ward's case exemplifies the basic question that everybody should be thinking about on this 4th of July weekend, which is whether we live in a democracy or whether we live in a dictatorship.
Well, to your point, Eric, I mean, tell me, what is next in Ward's case? Is it pretty much over, or is there more coming now?
Well, there's going to be more coming. I mean, how that develops, not only for Ward, but for the tens of thousands of people who every night in this country go to sleep in the conditions that Ward was forced to endure for 5 years, simply for the crime, in most cases, of having been born in another country and trying to come here for a better life. I mean, this is America. There's a network of internment camps across the United States set up by Democratic and Republican administrations where families are detained, where parents are taken from their children. They just built something that they call Alligator Alcatraz, which is as horrific as it sounds. There's Marines in Florida helping ICE attack the rights of immigrants in that state. And they've just passed a bill in Congress, which is not beautiful, which is going to fund ICE to the tune of having more resources at its disposal than many militaries across the world. This is an extraordinarily dangerous situation. We have to really make the point that the situation Ward confronts shows that nobody's safe. They're talking about denaturalizing American citizens. They're trying to enforce what types of speech immigrants can engage in and what types of speech American citizens can listen to immigrants engage in. That is totally outside the American democratic tradition that was embodied in the Declaration of Independence that was signed almost 250 years ago.
Well, Ward, glad you're back home, and please stay in touch with us to keep us abreast of just how you're progressing in the weeks and months to come. Thank you both, Ward Sukic and Eric Lee, for joining us this morning. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
A group of state lawmakers in Florida are now raising humanitarian concerns about the controversial new migrant detention center in the Everglades. The 5 Democrats say they were refused entry and denied the opportunity to inspect the facility nicknamed Alligator Alcatraz. CNN's Rafael Romo has the latest.
Danny, good morning. The lawmakers say they were worried about humanitarian concerns at the new detention center in Florida, and that's why they wanted to assess conditions inside by personally visiting the site. But they didn't get too far. The lawmakers say they weren't even allowed to see the outer perimeter of the tent facility known as Alligator Alcatraz only hours after the arrival of the first group of detainees. A lawyer with the Florida Division of Emergency Management, which oversees the detention center, later cited a safety concern for the denial without offering specific details, according to one of the lawmakers. CNN, of course, has reached out to the office for comment. President Donald Trump toured the facility on Tuesday, along with this Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem and their host, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Shortly after their visit, summer storms flooded part of the facility. Video from CNN affiliate shows wires submerged in pooling water across the floor. High winds made the floor and walls of the facilities tremble. Florida officials later said that, quote, vendors went back and tightened any seams at the base of the structures that allowed water intrusion during the heavy storm, calling it minimal. Florida State Representative Anna Eskamani, one of the lawmakers trying to visit the facility, referred to the detention center as a political stunt.
Based on reports that we've been able to glean, the site is already experiencing flooding. The first individuals who have been detained with no due process have arrived. And it's so essential when you have hundreds of millions of public dollars being spent on a political stunt that we have the ability to see for our own eyes what is happening and to be the voices of our constituents.
Publicly on Tuesday, federal and state officials said they were working together on this, but in a court filing submitted the following day, the Department of Homeland Security said it has not been directly involved. The court filing says in part that, quote, DHS has not implemented, authorized, directed, or funded Florida's temporary detention center. An official with Immigration and Customs Enforcement also said that the agency's role has been limited to touring the facility to ensure compliance with ICE detention standards. Danny?
Rafael Romo, thank you very much for that report.